welcome our blood viewers to RTD's News English Edition. As usual, we'll begin tonight's news with the major and top highlights. Let's follow. The head of state wishes success to all his citizens for the new year 2023. 2023 begins with rains here in Djibouti. An international scene in the whole world, the New Year celebration around the world. Those were the major and top highlights. Welcome back to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, has, as usual, at the approach of the new year, expressed his best wishes for health, success, and achievement to all his citizens. I wish, he said, more well-being, progress, and achievement to each Djiboutian, said the head of state, who took advantage of this message to the nation to talk about the general state of our country. We are pleased with the resilience shown by our economy in the face of shocks, particularly numerous and of a nature to disconcert its projections, even its ambitions, said the President of the Republic. The consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic, the effects of the war in Ukraine, in the generalized context of global recession, everything conspired to prepare our economy to difficulty, the head of state highlighted. It is the adoption of a forward-looking posture in anticipation of events that has enabled our country to avoid the unbearable spectacle of distress that the repeated international crises have generated in other countries, said President Guelleh, citing that the national plan to control prices and the state support guaranteed to the poorest of our citizens as measures to preserve our macroeconomic stability. Our government does not omit either to subscribe to its principal mission, that to continue the efforts to the development in spite of the current context not very favorable to the affirmation of the investments coming from abroad, announced the head of state, and consequently to apprehend more than ever the opportunities of our development through an essentially intrinsic prism drawn from our own provisions and means, explained the President of the Republic. That is why the reduction of expenses, the assessment to a greater duty of results in the public charge, and the realization of a greater synergy of action between the state and the Djiboutian private sector in order to take up the main challenges on the agenda in our country, were, among others, redefined in strategic matrices of our development, indicated the head of state. But all this naturally remains vain apart from a permanent mobilization of our society in favor of the protection of the flagship achievements of our independence, stressed the President, urging his citizens to always oppose those who advocate disunity and national discord. And the President of the Republic reiterated his attachment to the tranquility and exceptional stability that continuously prevails in our country, and his unshakable faith in the integrity of all the living forces of our nation to give our country all the necessary foundations for its access to sustainable development. May this new year, 2023, bring more opportunities for the wishes of each of our citizens and the final access of our country to the benefits of sustainable prosperity, also implored His Excellency the Head of State. Every year, the people of Djibouti gather to celebrate New Year's Eve with a grand event at the People's Palace. However, this year, the celebration was cancelled due to the expected heavy rains. Despite the cancellation, Djiboutians did not let the weather dampen their spirits. They took to the streets, walking in the beautiful weather with their families, friends, and loved ones, which is the road of Venice, by the sea, the shopping mall, Place Rambo, and everywhere were all bustling with people enjoying the fresh air in each other's company. With the cancellation of the traditional event was a certainty disappointment, Djiboutians showed that they are resilient and adaptable people. They found ways to celebrate and come together despite the challenges of the weather, proving that the true spirit of the new year is about coming together and celebrating with loved ones, no matter what the circumstances are. As the New Year's dawns, people are filled with hope and excitement for the future. They look forward to new opportunities and the chance to continue to strengthen their bonds with other one. And important security forces were mobilized to celebrate the new year by the General Director of the National Police in all the capitals and its peripheries. The security device is indeed intended to ensure the safety of people and property, but also to allow the many nationals of different foreign communities living in our country to spend those holidays in good conditions. Thus, all the units of the National Police are mobilized in the capital to ensure the safety of all. The Police of Road Safety has reinforced the controls of the vehicles, and for that, of the barricades were set up on the principal axis of circulation. Also, citizens patrols have been deployed around the city center and major hotels of the city, very popular with foreign communities living in our country. On the occasion of the New Year 2023, the Ministry of Youth and Culture organized in the Notre regions, namely the city of Oboch, musical evenings in the front of the esplanade of the CDC of Oboch. Our star artists as well as our young talents have animated this musical event by music and song of glory, citizenship, in addition to traditional and modern dances. This colorful music event is unprecedented in the interior regions on New York's Eve. This evening was attended by the first Deputy Prefect, Acting Prefect Mr. Ali Mohammed Maki, the Colonel of the National Police in Ubok, Kamil, and the various components of the population of this region. On the other hand, the whole population of Hayu, who had the opportunity to celebrate in a festive atmosphere of conviviality and brotherhood, did not fail to thank Her Excellency the Ministry of Youth and Culture, Dr. Hibu Mumin Asowi, for the organization of this musical event and the mobilization of artists who have illuminated the city of Hayu to the rhythm of beautiful musical melodies captivating. Our sincere thanks, said one of them, is to the Prefecture and the Regional Council of Obok for the availability and the technical support for the success and organization of this cultural meeting. In the evening of New Year's Eve, a musical entertainment is organized in the auditorium of the Center's Sunny Hill of Arta for the holiday makers and other people hosted during the holiday period in Arta. The director of the Sunny Hill Center organized on this occasion a musical event and evening to animate and especially to welcome in the atmosphere this new year 2023. Let's watch. New Year's celebrations around the world now, New Yorkers brave the freezing temperatures to watch the traditional midnight balloon drop in the Times Square. In Berlin, the fireworks display was set against the iconic Fernsehturm, the television tower that dominates the city. In Madrid, the crowd gathered at midnight, Puerta del Sol, to enter 2023 in front of the emblematic clock of the Spanish capital. 10,000 spectators in London, where in the New Year's Eve fireworks were held for the first time since the pandemic. In Dubai, the show was once again around the Burj Khalifa, the highest skyscraper in the world, which was illuminated, while in Pakistan, some people chose to celebrate on the port of Karachi. The Republic of Djibouti started the new year 2023 under the reign page of the Djibouti Meteorological Agency, the population of the capital was preparing to celebrate the new year with pomp and ceremony last night, but the rainfall disrupted the agenda of the evening in front of the People's Palace, which was cancelled in the capital. In the beginning of the evening, it was fine intermittent rains that sprinkled the capital. After, the rains affected the capital and its periphery, as well as some regions of the interior like Arta, Ali Sebeh, and Tajurra, which were the most affected. According to the National Weather Agency, the rains are not only affecting our country but also countries in the region such as Somalia, Ethiopia, and Yemen. Since this morning, the sky is overcast, as you can see on these images, shot by a team of RTD this morning, and the skies remain overcast in some regions. According to the information we received from the prefecture of Arta, the sky is still overcast with intermittent rains and fogs that reduce visibility. The Wadi of Friendship Dam in the region of Arta has exceeded 14 million cubic meters for the first time, and currently the spillways are used to relieve the dam. For Ali Sebeh, the road is cut out at the level of the Wadi. The weather forecast still indicates the presence of cloudy weather with a high probability of showers with stormy character on the coastal areas and the reliefs of the interior of the country. The Djiboutian population is called upon to remain vigilant, and road and sea users should be extra vigilant by informing themselves in advance of the situation before taking the road or going out by sea. Given the risk of evolution of the weather situation, we will inform you of the new evolutions as they occur. In the Republic of Djibouti, the new year 2023 started with a heavy, cloudy Ebola. As already predicted by the weather reports, short showers started to fall from yesterday evening until early morning. Although flooding was observed in some places, the situation is now very worrying at last until now. Thus, the rainwater began to flood the roads and alleys of some neighborhoods at low altitude of the town of Belaos, causing difficulties of movement on major roads. Indeed, to unclog these RTC's agents of the Direction of Sanitation of ONIAD were quickly mobilized to unclog the sewers and evacuate the rainwaters. In addition, the bad weather caused the flooding of the Wadi of Hambuli. The latter has completely blocked the main road leading to Barwako and Hayabli neighborhoods of the town of Balbala. To avoid any incident, elements of the traffic police were mobilized to barricade the area and divert the automobiles to the bridge or road, which is such a situation is the one and only road that connects the commune of Balbala and the other communes of the capital. In Balbala, like the lower town, the situation is rather a boon for the inhabitants and road users. Apart from a few steamers, none of the sectors of the sparring suburb has staged water. This is why young people who play soccer or go for a walk enjoy the fresh air. After a heavy rainfall on Saturday evening, Sunday this morning, the sanitation team are all mobilized throughout the capital for the evacuation of rainwater. The torrential rain that hit the capital this morning has left several major road access of the capital in difficulty with the increase of water at the road level. To this effect, ONIAD has dispatched a team of sanitation to several road access of the capital to evacuate the rainwater to prevent traffic. With their all means and dispositive, the sanitation team has worked hard to make the situation effective and free. Moreover, the National Police were also mobilized this morning for the evacuation of rainwater at several levels of the capital. With the announcement of the meteor of a torrential rain during the week, the ONIAD remains always mobilized. Following the meeting of the Management Committee of the Emergency Plan, which was chaired by the Minister of Interior, Mr. Said Nur Hassan, the National Director of Civil Protection are on alert since yesterday evening on all its elements that have been mobilized in case of heavy rains. More than a dozen pump engines of medium and large capacity, as well as the elements of the civil protection, were mobilized in case of heavy rains. Thus, the High Command of the Civil Protection, the officers, the troops of rank were on guard all night in order to anticipate and thus to avoid floods. Recall that floods and heavy rains caused by climate change, which the Republic of Djibouti in recent years constitute major challenges that our government must face to assist vulnerable populations affected by the bad weather. Intermittent rain fell in the Arta region since yesterday evening around 12:30 in the morning in the whole districts. Heavy rains have fallen since 1 a.m. on the Arta city, where and the outlying localities of Omar Jaga, Karta, and Piki 51, where the Wadi is flowing since this morning. The bridge of Piki 51, that of where are overflowed by the floods of the Wadi, causing some degradation of the national road, one blocking the traffic in both directions. A heavy fog also disrupted traffic to Arta city. Concerning the water level at the Friendship Dam of Piki 30 is very important, but no risks to report for the moment. On the occasion, the prefecture of Arta informed users and motorists of the main road 1 coming from Ali Sebeh, Dakhil, and from Djibouti City, and users coming from Tajurra and Ubukh from the main road 9 and blocked due to the flooding at the level of Wea, Piki 51, and Karta in both directions. Furthermore, we ask all users to be vigilant and patient while avoiding falling rocks from cliffs and such. The rains continues to fall, and the results of these rains will be communicated later. According to the information of the weather agency, for the meteorological agency, more or less the whole country as the capital as well as the regions of the interior. In the region of Tajarrah, the rains have affected the coastline as well as the highland in altitude like Renda, with 100 millimeters since yesterday evening and 132 millimeters in Sagalu. No damage have been reported for the moment, but the winter rains are welcome for the whole population of Tajarrah, especially for the families living in the rural areas. Between Lake Asal and the Tajarrah, the wadis have been in flood, causing some difficulties of circulation in some places, especially at the level of the village of Forge and Sagalu. The same for Hayu in the region of Obokh is reported in the city as well as the remote areas of Wadi in the sub-prefecture of Khorangar. And according to the weather agency, the sky is still covered. Some places around Obokh, such as Alat Ela, has not been drenched by these rains, but due to the presence of clouds, the risk of rainfall is still present in the areas of Mabla and the hinterland of the Obokh region. In the city of Obokh, last night's reading rains indicated 8 millimeters. A heavy rainfall has largely sprinkled the region of Ali Sibeh. Last night, Saturday, December 31st, 2022, around 22 hours 10 p.m. began to rain intermittent waterfalls. Rainfall not windy but caused the flooding of all wadis in the flow of natural water. The rain did not cause any damage except for the flooding of the wadi located in the city center, which disrupted the traffic and pedestrian passengers at this level. The water flows in the wadis and in the alleys of the neighborhoods have given the land a clean and virgin aspect. Last but not least, Dikhil region experienced heavy rains as announced by the Djibouti Meteorological Agency at 5 a.m. Heavy rains began to fall. However, this apparently harmless weather event caused a power outage that paralyzed the city for several hours. Like any power outage, this disruption had a ripple effect on various aspects of daily life, with transportation coming to a halt and communication being disrupted. The impact of power outage can be particularly severe, as a reliable supply of electricity is crucial to many aspects of daily life. However, power was restored after a few hours and life in the city returned to normal. Overall, the rain and power outage in the Dikhl region of Djibouti was only a temporary inconvenience, but it is a reminder to be prepared for unexpected events. The ban on women's work in NGOs in Afghanistan had rising fears about the continuation of humanitarian aid in this poor country, whose population is at risk of starvation, but UN aid cannot be conditioned. The agency reaffirmed in a press briefing that Taliban have just banned women and girls from pursuing university studies and from working in national or international NGOs. Well, by this, our blood viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us and make sure to tune in later for more. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you once again. Wish you a peaceful weekend.